Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Salesforce Wala. As I promised you earlier, I am bringing the Salesforce PD1 sample questions to help you prepare the Salesforce PD1 exam. I already released and published the part 1 of this sample question series on my YouTube channel. As promised in that video, today we are continuing the same series. Today I am bringing you to part 2 for you. We will continue exactly from where we left off in part 1. I promised you that if you are preparing for that the Salesforce PD1 exam and practice sessions, these questions are properly, if you will definitely to be able to crack the Salesforce PD1 exam. So without any delay, let's continue and proceed with the sample questions. So so till 25 questions we have already covered in part 1 of my first series, and now we are basically continue with the 26 questions. So this is the question like public static list, obtain all fields lead IDs. So this is the sample code and this is the option. These are the options given the multi-tenant architecture in Salesforce platform. What is the best practice a developer should implement and ensure the successful execution of this method? So as you know, as per the Salesforce standards, you will avoid the queries inside in a for loop. So this the right answer is option C. Next question is, a developer needs to prevent a creation of request under underscore C record with the certain conditions exist in the exam. A request logic class exists that check the condition. What is the correct implementation? So as you know, like in the third option, trigger request trigger on request under underscore C before insert request logic dot validate record in bracket trigger dot new. This is the right answer. So option C is the right answer. So next question is my which two characteristics are true for the Lightning Web Component custom events? So first is, by default a custom event only propagates to its immediate container and to its immediate child component. By default a custom event only propagates to its immediate containers. So these two options are the true options in this example, in this question. Which annotation should a developer use in Apex method to make it available in a wired property in a Lightning Web Component? So as you know, @aura enabled cache1 is constitute is a right method to write it for the wire property. What is an example of the polymorphic lookup field in Salesforce? So right option is the what ID field on the standard event object is a right option to it. And 31st is, this is basically the, you can say like a scenario based question. So universal container recently transmission from classic to the lightning experience. One of its business process requires certain values from the opportunity object to send via the HTTP request call out to its external order management system. When the user presses a custom button on the opportunity detail page, example values are the below: name, account, and amount. Which two methods should the developer implement to fulfill the business requirement? So first of all, create a custom visual quick action that perform the HTTP REST callout and use a visual force quick action to expose the component to opportunity detail page. Create a lightning web quick action to perform the HTTP REST callout and use a lightning action to expose the component on the opportunity detail page. These are the two options for right options. 32 number question is, how can a developer check the test coverage of the auto launch flow before deploying in a change set? So the correct answer is use a SOQL and the toolkit API. 33 questions. A developer wants to mark each account in a list is either inactive or active based on the values of the last modification field in each account being greater than 90 days in the past. Which Apex technique should be developer use? So as you know, fourth loop is a best practice to do this with an if and if else condition inside. 34 question is, which three steps allow a custom scalable vector graphic like a SVG to be included in a Lightning Web component? So these are the three correct options, and import the static resource and provide a JavaScript property for it. Reference the property in the HTML template. Upload the SVG as a static resource. These are the correct answer. 35 questions is, developer creates a batch job to update a large amount of the records and receive reports of the timing out not completing. What is the first step towards the troubleshooting the issue? So the right answer is, check the asynchronous job monitoring page to view the job status and the log. As we know, all the we can track the all the asynchronous Apex methods to the job ID. So this will be the right answer. A credit card company needs to implement the functionality as service agent to process damaged or stolen credit cards. When the customer call in, the service agent must be greater than two pieces of the information. The developer task is to implement this functionality. What should the developer use to satisfy the requirement the most efficient manner? So the correct answer is Lightning component. This is the correct answer. 37 question is, a company decided to implement a new process where the every time on an opportunity is created, a follow-up task should be created and assigned to the opportunity owner. What is the most effective way for a developer to implement this? So the correct answer is a record trigger flow on the opportunity object. 38 question is just like a coding question. A developer is tasked to perform a security review of the contents search Apex class that exists in the system. Within the class, the developer identifies the following method as a security threat: list content, perform search, screen string last name. Contact perform search string last name, return database dot query, select id first name last name from contact where last name like this one. There are two ways can update the method to prevent a SOQL injection attack. So the first step is first correct option is, use the variable binding and replace the dynamic query with a static SOQL. Use the escape single quotes method to sanitize the parameters before its use. So these two options are the correct for that scenario. A developer wants to improve runtime performance of the Apex call by caching result on the client. What is the most efficient way to implement this and follow best practice? So the correct answer is or at the rate or enabled cacheable is equals to true. This is the correct answer. The following example, which sharing context will my method execute when it's invoked? So this is the code structure. The correct answer is, sharing rules will be inherited from the calling context. A developer creates a Lightning Web component that imports a method within an Apex class. When a validate button is pressed, the method runs to execute complex validation. In this implementation scenario, which two options are part of the controller according to the MVC structure? So first option is Apex class, second option is JavaScript file. A development team wants to use a deployment script to automatically deploy to a sandbox during these development cycles. Which two tools can they use to run a script and deploy a sandbox? So first option is SFTX CLI and second option is Visual Studio Code. These are the correct options. Which two agent rules limitations should a developer consider when building an agent? Custom events that reference an Apex class or flow support only primitive data types. Second option is the agent API has a 90 seconds timeout. A developer A developer must create a draw list class that provides com- capabilities defined in a sortable and a drawable interfaces. So these are the two methods which are the correct implementation. So the correct option is C options. Public class drawable list implements sortable, comma drawable, and then you can define the public void sort. A Salesforce administrator used flow builder to create a flow name like a account onboarding. The flow must be used inside a or a component. Which tag should a developer use to display the flow in the component? So the correct answer is lightning flow. Which statement describes the execution order when the triggers are associated the same object and event? So the correct answer is trigger execution order cannot be guaranteed. This is very important. Lightning Web component has a wide property search results that store a list of the opportunities which defined which definition of the Apex method to which search result property is wired should be used. So the correct annotation is or at the rate or enable cacheable is equal to public static list opportunity search string turn. Developers at UC use version control to share their code changes, but they notice that when they deploy their code to different environment, they often have failure. They decided to set up the CI. What should the UC development team use to automatically run the test as a part of the CI process? So the correct answer is Salesforce CLI. A custom object trainer under underscore c has a lookup field to another custom object gym underscore c, which SOQL query will get the record for a Viridian city gym and the all its trainer. So correct answer is select ID from the trainer underscore r from the gym underscore c where name is equals to Viridian city gym. 58th question is what should a developer use to fix a Lightning Web component bug in Sandbox? So through the Visual Studio Code you can do. A developer creates a custom exception shows and below. What are the two ways the developer can fire the exception in Apex? So through new parity exception you can do and through the new parity exceptions. These are the correct options. What are the two characteristics related to the formulas? First, right option is formula can reference value in the related objects. And D option is formulas calculated at the runtime and are not stored in the database. The sales management team at the UC container requires that the lead source field of the lead record to be populated when a lead is converted. What should be developer do to ensure that the user populates the lead source field prior to convert a lead? So the correct answer is use a variation rule. CloudKick's Fitness and ISV Salesforce partner is developing a managed package application. One of the application modules allows the user to calculate body fat using the Apex class body fat and its method calculate body fat. The product owner wants to ensure that this is accessible by the consumer of the application when developing the customization outfit the ISV's package namespace. Which approach should a developer to take ensure the calculate body fat is accessible outside the package namespaces? So the correct answer is declare the classes and the method using the global access modifier. 55th questions is given the following Apex statement account my account is equals to select ID name from the account which what occur when more than one account is written by the SOQL query. So the correct answer is unhandled exception is thrown and the code is terminated. This is the scenario. While developing an Apex class with custom search functionality that will be launched from a Lightning Web component, how can the developer ensure only the records accessible to the currently login in user displayed? So the correct answer is use the with sharing keyword. Which two actions may cause trigger for fire? First option is updates to fire feed items, and fourth option is changing a user's default division when the transfer division option is checked. A developer is using Agent Force Dev Assistant and notice that the output from their prompt reassemble the proprietary code. Which model training considerations should the developer be aware of when the utilizing the extension? The Dev Assistant generated output that reassembles the code that was used to train the model. UC, UC UC decided to use purely declarative development to build out a new Salesforce application. Which two options can be used to build out the business logic layer for this application? So the correct answer is validation rules and the record trigger flows. Last question is, a developer receives an error when compiling the following code. This is the code. What is the error? So the correct answer is only one S object type per when block can be used. So that that's it, guys. In this way we have successfully completed this entire set of the 60 questions. This is the part 2 of my Salesforce PD1 exam preparation series. I hope these videos I have created will help you with the Salesforce PD1 exam preparation. I am also planning to bring a complete Salesforce flow series for you. I will try to my best to release the full Salesforce flow series as soon as possible. For that, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, support my YouTube channel, and like this video so that it can reach more and more pupils. So that's it, guys. Bye.